Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
Newly leaked footage of a ritual taking place at Bohemian Grove has surfaced. The footage, taken secretly of course, shows a ritual in process being conducted in front of the infamous statue. The ritual, attended by an audience of robed hooded figures, their identities unknown. It is no secret that Bohemian Grove is the center for the elite's decision-making and shenanigans.
We reverence before him.
Yeah, I've seen it. It look like it's a Broadway play, but like in the woods. They got an orchestra, there's lighting. Like they may have seen it back in the day filming in VHS, but this footage right here is clear.
Now that Joe Biden has officially stepped down, here's what's gonna happen next. Well, firstly, we're gonna be saying goodbye to Joe after a staggering 50 years in politics. But secondly, this is only 4 months away from the election. It's not just cutting it close. It is literally unprecedented in modern politics. Which, sounds about right in 2024, actually. In fact, it is so unprecedented that we're not even sure what happens to the hundreds of millions of dollars of campaign money that Joe Biden has raised. It's never been tested against campaign finance laws before. So, who replaces Biden, and how will it be done? Well, the approximate 4,700 Democratic Party officials and activists known as delegates will gather to choose a new candidate by majority vote. It's believed they will do this by a virtual roll call as soon as August the 1st and before August the 7th, which gives anyone who wants to chuck their hat into the ring to run for the President of the United States about 2 weeks. Yeah. Pretty rushed decision. Obviously, we've seen Biden endorse Kamala Harris, but it's likely we will see challengers emerge in the coming days. Some of the most talked about potentials are the governors of Michigan, California, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky. So the question is, who do you want to replace Biden, and will they stand a better chance against Trump?
What a sudden turn of events. Shout out to Dylan Page. $100 million sounds like it's up for grabs, if you ask me.
Well, Biden just dropped out of the presidential race. Who could have seen that coming? Literally just finished filming a video about the whole assassination attempt and all the evidence we know up to this weekend. And I said in the video that we're probably gonna have Biden drop out before you even see the video. We'll have a whole new news cycle to deal with. That video is currently downloading to my computer to upload right here, coming to YouTube near you soon. And before it can even begin uploading, what do we get announced? Weird. Biden has dropped out of the presidential race. No one saw that coming, except for the entire internet. There has been all kinds of speculation about who they're going to replace him with. But weirdly, Hillary is starting to emerge as possibly the most likely frontrunner candidate to replace him. Which is like, dude, what? What? Like they want a repeat? Are they trying to Hillary themselves? I don't know. Either way, we're in for a crazy news cycle, crazy week. Keep your eyes peeled. There's going to be some shenanigans going on. And if you want a rundown of all the conspiracy theories and evidence that we have relative to the shooting last week in Pennsylvania, video on my YouTube in a couple hours, go check it out. A good mixture of like all the data with some conspiracy and some memes and some fun, cause what the fuck is going on?
Shout outs to Cancel This Clothing Company. Go check his channel, check it out. I'm definitely gonna take a look.
Life is getting very, very weird. So obviously you heard that Biden dropped out of the race, right? Well, of course, we have The Simpsons, an episode from 2000, where they had to fix the economy, and Lisa did it, dressed just like this person, from the one left over by Trump. But it gets so much deeper.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten? We're broke.
I can't explain this, but I just know somehow that John McAfee is somehow related to Matt Groening, the writer of The Simpsons. Anyways, I don't know if this tweet is alleged or not, but it says that the first time travel has returned, and he said that Biden would be medically diagnosed as unfit. And we know for sure time is being messed with because of the butterfly effect and because people are passing away who had already passed away. And they discovered the DNC has legal power to choose a replacement, and you'll never guess who it is. And while it's not September yet, we do have this happening. Speaker Johnson calling President to resign after making that announcement, like to completely step down right now, which would put the Kamala card in play. Even the Obamas have turned against Biden and Kamala.
For Barack and Michelle Obama, which does not endorse Kamala Harris. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton have come out to endorse her. President Biden endorsed her. But here's what the Obamas say. We will be navigating uncharted waters in the days ahead.
But that does not explain to us who's going to be running until November. The Simpsons have been right way more than they've been wrong. And here's the thing, John McAfee is said to be the one that owns the Ingerson-Lockwood website. And we know that due to time travel because John G. Trump took the stuff from Tesla. And we also know that somehow, even if we can't find the link, that the Simpsons writer is on the same stuff as they are. Earth is getting so weird. What do y'all think is going to happen in the near future? Let me know.
Shout out to Inspired by the King. And I agree, we're in uncharted times. Yeah, the Simpsons, man, they've been striking it mighty close lately.
So the patriarchy has fallen, and now the matriarchy is rising, you guys. Purple is the color of royalty and the feminine energy coming back to rule this planet. And apparently, in the year 2000, the Simpsons already told us that Kamala Harris was going to be president. Check this out.
Question. Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president. Helen?
Wasn't I wearing a hat?
Yes, you were. Now, in conclusion, my administration will focus on the 3 R's. Reading, writing, and refilling the ocean. Thank you very much.
Now, to my people who really know the truth, the Simpsons are a melanated family, and this is the power coming back to the melanated matriarchy. Because we already know we were royalty before, and there is nothing new under the sun. Those who were last shall be first, and those who were first shall be last. This is what the Simpsons is literally telling us, and now it's literally coming into fruition. But let me know what you guys think about this video. Like, comment, and share for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. Let's get this shift. Peace in.
Shout out to Nightmare Fuel. How can they deny that? We all know Tinkerbell was in all those intros. I don't watch Disney like that, but I remember that, especially growing up. Did we jump on another timeline?
So this teenage kid, he commits so many crimes that he's about to run from police for years, steal a plane, and escape to another country. Now his name's Colton, and he's only 12, and his life sucks. He lives in a small trailer in the woods on a little island off the coast of Washington. And his mom is an addict, and so he mostly has to take care of himself. So he spends most his days in the woods, alone, reading about airplanes, because one day he wants to be a pilot. Now eventually he starts breaking into neighboring houses, stealing things, mostly food, but over time he starts stealing other things, a laptop and credit cards. And interestingly, he often doesn't wear shoes for some reason. Like he does most of this barefoot. And so this barefoot kid is always in and out of trouble. And one day he doesn't show up for a mandatory court date, and bam, the police start looking for him. And Colton learns they're looking for him, and so he hides out in the woods for like 6 months. He finds vacation homes and he breaks into those and he sleeps there, or he'll steal food and camping supplies and he'll sleep out in the forest. But then eventually, boom, police catch him and they convict him, and he's sentenced to 3 years in juvenile detention. And of course, Colton hates being locked up. He can't ever be a pilot while he's in detention. So a little over a year later, he sneaks out an unlocked window and he escapes. So now he's on the run again, and he goes back to the area where he used to live, and he starts sleeping in the woods and breaking into vacation homes again. So he's constantly on the move and stealing things like food and supplies and cars. And this goes on for months before finally police close in on him. One day he's driving a Mercedes he had stolen, and they spot him because he's driving like an asshole, and they go to pull him over in a parking lot, and he jumps out of the car while it's still moving, and he takes off and runs into the woods. And so police search the car, and they find a backpack he had stolen and a digital camera he had stolen. And on that camera, they find this selfie he took. Then Colton steals a boat, and he drives it from his island to a different island. And on the new island, he breaks into all kinds of homes and businesses again, and he steals a bunch more shit.
So this guy's been in and out of trouble for years at this point. He's like 16 or 17 years old at this time. And if you're like, Ray, how could a teenager cause this much chaos? Like, wouldn't he want friends or like a girlfriend? What exactly is Colton getting out of all of this? Well, let me just say that this kid never had a chance at a normal life. Starting from when he was a little kid, his upbringing messed him up. And I'm not trying to invoke sympathy for him. I'm just saying that the home life he grew up in, the environment he grew up in, was an absolute disaster. When he was a toddler, his dad was a drug addict. So he was raised mostly by his mom, who was apparently a raging alcoholic and was extremely neglectful to him. His neighbors later said they called Child Protective Services more than once because they believed that he was being abused or neglected. Child Protective Services actually showed up to his place 12 different times. One of those times, they actually even removed him from the home for a period of time. So yeah, all of this set his life up for an eventual disaster. That's why he was living in the woods and running around barefoot for so long as a kid. I mean, what else was he supposed to do? Anyway, so Colton is still out there and he's still on the run from police. And by now, his story is starting to catch on in the media. I mean, this teenage burglar who police can't seem to catch. And he's starting to get a little reputation. But Colton, he isn't too worried about that. He's way too preoccupied with his lifelong dream of becoming a pilot. And during this time, he decides he's gonna make that happen. So he goes and he breaks into a small airplane hangar and he steals a single propeller plane and he manages to get it running and he actually gets it in the air. Now, he has no formal flight training, only reading piloting manuals and watching instructional videos on his computer that he had stolen, but he somehow managed to get this plane flying and he keeps it in the air for 3.5 hours before he finally crashes it on a Native American reservation in mainland Washington. About a year later, he steals another plane, but this one he only flies it about 10 miles before he lands it correctly this time. No crashes. 2 weeks later, he breaks into another hangar and steals a third plane in Idaho. And he flies it 250 miles back to Washington, and this one he crash lands in a field. Meanwhile, the legend of Colton and his crimes are growing. I mean, he's 17 now, and he's been on the run from police for like years. And he's stealing boats and planes, and they just can't seem to catch him. So he's starting to get fans online. And because he often doesn't wear shoes, they call him the Barefoot Bandit. Someone even starts a Facebook fan page for him. And that fan page gets over 100,000 followers. While one company starts making t-shirts with Colton's face on them. People are even writing songs about him and putting them on YouTube.
Ran away. I'm no shoe. It's got a barefoot bandit.
I mean, dude is blowing up. And of course, all this sudden attention, it starts to put a lot of heat on him. And by now, the FBI is involved in this manhunt, looking for him. But Colton, he's like, whatever. He's still out there robbing houses and stealing cars. And so another year passes. And he decides, okay, there's too much heat on me. It's time to steal another plane and get the hell out of the country. But first, he has to find the right plane. So he jacks a boat and he drives it to mainland Oregon. And from there, he goes to a small airport and he doesn't find the plane he wants. So then he just steals a car. And from there, he goes to 2 more airports and he still doesn't find the right plane. Then he tries an airport in South Dakota and nope, still doesn't find the right plane. Then he just keeps on stealing car after car, hopping from state to state, breaking into airport after airport, looking for the right one that has the plane he wants. And after driving over 2,000 miles through 9 different states and almost a dozen stolen cars, Colton hits up a small airport in Indiana and he finally finds the plane he's looking for, the Cessna 400. And bam, he straight up jacks it and he takes off and he's in the air and he flies 11 hours over 1,200 miles from Indiana to Great Abaco Island in the Bahamas. And once he's there, he kind of crash lands in shallow waters near the shore. That crash landing triggers the plane's emergency locator beacon, which is how the FBI ultimately learns that Colton is now in the Bahamas. But Colton has has no idea, because within hours, he's breaking into local houses and businesses again, and stealing cash and food and all kinds of stuff. Then he steals another boat, and he flees to the nearby island of Eureka, where he hopes to blend in with the constant crowd of tourists there. But unfortunately for Colton, he can't blend into the crowd. He's just too famous now. And within a few days, locals start to recognize him as the Barefoot Bandit, and they tip off local police. So pretty quickly, Colton finds himself in yet another stolen boat, speeding away as Bahamian police chase him in like a Miami Vice type boat chase. And as he's hauling ass and getting away, kaboom! He high centers his boat on a sandbar. He is stuck. And as he's trying to unstick his ride, of course, police roll right up on him. And they open fire on his boat, taking out his engine. And there is where Colton, the Barefoot Bandit, finally surrenders. So then, bam, they arrest him. Here's his mugshot. And Colton gets charged with all kinds of stuff, and ultimately he gets sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. Oh, but here's the best part. Apparently Colton's story is so interesting, he's able to sell the movie rights to his life to 20th Century Fox for a whopping $1.3 million. But unfortunately, as part of the punishment for all his crimes, the court ordered that he's not allowed to profit from his story. So he doesn't get to keep any of that money. All of it has to go to pay back his victims, the people he stole from. And apparently he's out of prison now, he served his time, and he just works a regular job. So good for him.
Wow, that was very interesting. Shout outs to the real Ray Williams. As I was listening, I was like, man, this sounds like a movie. I guess Fox was thinking the same thing. Too bad he had too many damages to pay for.
If you or anybody you know live anywhere in this area, you need to watch this video because this is supposed to be a simulation of what the new Madrid fault line could do. So basically, the National Guard has been in Missouri holding multiple drills just in case an 8.4 magnitude earthquake hits the new Madrid line, which is crazy. I just showed you guys this photo in the intro, but this is the new simulation of what it could do. I'm actually in the red. This is terrifying. So the Missouri Department of Natural Resources now says that there's a 10% chance that the state will experience a magnitude 7 or higher earthquake in the next 50 years. They're saying that obviously an earthquake like that would be extremely catastrophic, but there's an even better chance that a major earthquake greater than 6 could cause massive damage too. And then they're saying that the estimate actually goes up to 25% that Missouri will see a quake that large in the next 30 years. Basically, all of this stuff has been going down for the past few days. There's actually simulation videos showing what the approximate damage could be across the United States, and the ocean would basically open up and then all of the middle of the US would be water. By the way, I want to make sure that everybody knows that this was all just a drill and this is a simulation about if an earthquake did happen, this would be the new Madrid fault line and it would be crazy, but we're all okay. This is all very new and I couldn't find that much information, but make sure you add me and come back tomorrow.
Shout outs to Nick Jackson. Once again, shout outs to Missouri. A 10% chance is really slim. I think it's the training exercise that got everybody attention.
Look, I'm not trying to scare you in any shape, form, or fashion, as always, but if there was an earthquake in the New Madrid seismic zone, it would be worse than if the San Andreas fault line had the big one that they've been talking about for years. St. Louis has the right idea preparing for a major earthquake in this area because this is the New Madrid seismic zone. It is quite literally bigger than the San Andreas fault, and if there was an earthquake in this area, millions of people would be affected. It would be catastrophic for the areas in red, severe damage for the areas in orange, moderate for yellow, and then slight damage. That's half of our country if there's an earthquake in this area. And hear me out, the last earthquakes that occurred in this area happened over 200 years ago in 1811 and 1812. And they were a 7.7 on the Richter scale. The United States Geological Survey estimates that there is a 25 to 40% chance that there will be an earthquake that is a 6 point or bigger in this area in the next 50 years. That's why St. Louis did what they did with preparing with the National Guard. It wouldn't just be St. Louis that is affected. Like I said, this would affect millions of people. Everyone needs to be prepared for earthquakes, especially if you live in this area. And yes, this area is active for earthquakes. There are about 200 per year. Most of them we don't feel, but so far this year, there have been 63 felt earthquakes in the New Madrid seismic zone.
63 earthquakes felt already. Shout outs to Holly Keeler. I'm in the yellow zone. Yeah, gotta stay prepared. Knowing them, they'll still make us go to work the next day.
Shaking or heard a loud boom this afternoon, you were not alone. People across 6 states reported feeling the impacts of what NASA now describes as a meteor. And tonight, News 4's Chucky Beckford explains how close that fireball came to Midtown Manhattan.
The sky over New York City already attracts plenty of attention. But today,
I don't know if we really had to ever think about that in the New York area.
People were looking up at more than the skyscrapers.
You have to have one bright enough, and it has to be right over New York to get all that attention.
Scientist Bill Cook, who leads NASA's Meteoroid Environments Office, is talking about a fireball, one bright enough to be seen in daylight.
Daytime fireballs are fairly rare, and New Yorkers got to see one this morning.
And boy, did they get an eyeful.
I got up. I'm looking like this for about 3 seconds. It was like almost horizontal.
Judah Bergman's Lakewood, New Jersey office surveillance video shows him getting out of his chair and rushing to the window.
It just caught my eye. I saw a fireball just streaming through the sky. I couldn't believe it.
He turned to the place where many of us go for answers. The internet.
I looked up pictures on Google, and that's pretty much what I saw.
Some witnesses claim that space rock charted a picture-perfect course right above Lady Liberty's head. NASA scientists, though, say they're not quite sure. Cook says they have only 15 documented witnesses. The fireball was first spotted over New York Harbor, but where it went next...
We lack camera data and satellite data for this event. I'm just going off what the eyewitnesses said. So I can tell you it was definitely a meteor. It moved about 34,000 miles per hour, and it ended up over Midtown Manhattan. Anything else is pretty uncertain.
And despite accounts like that of Travis Fetchin, who was in his Secaucus office,
and I just hear this boom, and all of our windows shook.
Cook is confident the approximately 1-foot wide meteor did not cause the sonic booms reported by some. Chucky Beckford reporting, News 4, New York.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right. Run these numbers up. Thanks again. Until next time.